They're looking to go in there. That blink team. Can get the false promise on time? Yep. Always gonna find. There's the false promise. He'll still out for the time being. Now comes your splitter as well. But a great stop as on top. Skin will not get caught in it, but he's just gonna walk it off, and Frost also somehow escapes. The kill flash killer in the midst of that. Wow. Great stop as on top. Skin will not get caught in it, but he's just gonna walk it off, and Frost also somehow escapes. The kill flash killer in the midst of that. Wow. Great stop as on top. Skin will not get caught in it, but he's just gonna walk it off, and Frost also somehow escapes. The kill flash killer in the midst of that. Wow. Great stop as on top.
Neither here nor there. I think
will not
what's
get
really
caught in
important
it,
for
but
the
he's
Final
just gonna
Tribe
walk
now
it.
is that they
Also somehow
take
escapes.
Roshan while the Morphling is not online. We talked about this Lincoln Spear taking
on top.
the next item, the Blade. Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan extra.
Underlord, he hasn't died yet. That could be
Neither here nor
changing.
there. I think
He's
what's
already
really
caught
important
in,
for
but
the
he's
Final
just
Tribe
gonna
now
walk
is
it running
that they
also somehow
take Roshan
escapes.
while the
The
Morphling is not
flash killer in
online.
the
We talked
midst of
about
that.
this Lincoln
Wow.
Spear
Stop
taking
as on top.
the next item, the Blade. Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan extra.
Underlord, he hasn't died yet. That could be
Neither here nor there. I
changing.
think Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. It's like Double Echoes. Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. It's like Double Echoes. Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. It's like Double Echoes. Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. Oh, with the false promise on top, he'll regen all the way up back to full. Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. Oh, with the false promise on top, he'll regen all the way up back to full.
Nearly died at the beginning. You got the false promise.
Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. Oh, with the false promise on top, he'll regen all the way up back to full.
Nearly died at the beginning. You got the false promise.
Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. Oh, with the false promise on top, he'll regen all the way up back to full.
Nearly died at the beginning. You got the false promise.
Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. Oh, with the false promise on top, he'll regen all the way up back to full.
Nearly died at the beginning. You got the false promise.
Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. Oh, with the false promise on top, he'll regen all the way up back to full.
Nearly died at the beginning. You got the false promise.
Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. Oh, with the false promise on top, he'll regen all the way up back to full.
Nearly died at the beginning. You got the false promise.
Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. Oh, with the false promise on top, he'll regen all the way up back to full.
Nearly died at the beginning. You got the false promise.
Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. Oh, with the false promise on top, he'll regen all the way up back to full.
Nearly died at the beginning. You got the false promise.
Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. Oh, with the false promise on top, he'll regen all the way up back to full.
Nearly died at the beginning. You got the false promise.
Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. Oh, with the false promise on top, he'll regen all the way up back to full.
Nearly died at the beginning. You got the false promise.
Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan. Oh, with the false promise on top, he'll regen all the way up back to full.
Nearly died at the beginning. You got the false promise.
Firestorm with Underlord takes Roshan.
Eventually, but what a game from Kinguin. What a kill. Nearly died that off. He's got the Understandably, a big play on his part. You see, Underlord is eventually, but what a game from Kinguin, what a kill. Nearly died that up. Understandably, a big play on his part. You see, Underlord is eventually, but what a game from Kinguin, what a kill. Terrorized. Can be terrorizing. Lifestealer, Solar's Crest follow-up. Gonna go into an SNY next, so pretty.
Alright. Nisha has Eagle Song queued up, so going back to the E-Blade, I definitely think that's a lot better. Just because I don't see Manta style being all that effective. I mean, you actually have pretty much just he'll actually have a lot more ways to lock down targets himself, and it seems like he has pretty free reign in terms of not being controlled in the fights, and he can kind of pick and choose where he wants to go in. So the Sork with these items look like he's actually transitioned fairly well into the...
Apparently the play was the troll net, suggesting Centaur, going back to the terrorize that feared away the Underlord. I guess that's how he got rooted in place. It was actually the dominating.
What a good item.
It goes back to that, right? Yet another reason why that.
Middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures.
They're gonna push the tier 1 tower in the middle lane. Should be an easy kill in the end, but PMG's not gonna give it up for free by any means. In fact, they tried to this time in the last
Radiant
dance, though.
structures are fortified.
Successful for the Radiant side. You see, Centaur also has his own Crimson Guard now. That on. Probably go applied. Yeah, he has that queued up now at this point, actually.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
There, but the one difference is the Helm of the Dominator compared to Underlord not having one. Although, is he getting one? No, he is going the mech into Guardian Greaves.
Like, I almost prefer him having a Helm of Dominator instead of Greaves because of all the utility. Even having a net into Troll or into Life Source quite what it is.
Here.
I would like to see a Centaur Aghanims. Such a strong ability in the. I actually think that if they can a lot of Lena's initiative first, kill the rest of the team, Torque is fairly easy to bring down as the.
We'll see what he decides to go.
I want Shivas. I want Shivas. It makes sense because right now he only has about 9 armor. Not good enough really for a hero with the HP. A lot of times, you know, like when you have HP, you benefit a lot more from armor compared to just stacking more HP. They can just burn. It's about the same. The armor will give you quite a bit of effective HP that you don't really think about, and then throwing the regeneration on top, it's like you have a lot more HP than it seems.
Is now working on a BKB here. It's almost level 20 as well. Key mark. Her. Getting worked on, so a couple of those on the course of the dire side at least. Effective item. Okay.
Bill doesn't have Eagle Song. It's about 1,000 gold away, roughly. Normally you see Morphlings one-shotting people around the 20-minute mark, but right now these heroes are building into BKBs, and that's 10 seconds in the fight where you can't actually target them, use any of your abilities, which is a massive disadvantage.
Oh, they Dark Ripped in up here. They're going to go for Centaur, but again that Terrorize comes into play. However, Slark gets out of it quickly, but and Centaur just TPs out. This Terrorize pretty effectively a couple times now.
Nice positioning, Dark Willow. He knows that if he's there with the Centaur, it's a really high chance that the Centaur can get out. Otherwise, if Centaur is alone, very likely that he just gets stunlocked. So really good positioning. Good teams generally will, or at least good core players will call for support at kind of certain times in the game, and this was one of the spots where they really needed that.
Yeah, I see people bringing it up, guys. Really, just to clarify, it's actually maybe a fight breaking out here top lane, but this is a 2-game series technically. So this is game 1 of a 2-game series. However, if it ends up in a 1-1 split, there will be a deciding game tomorrow. And so essentially, you can think of it as a best of 3 that's spread out 2 days, if you really want to put it that way. But again, I mean, personally, we were talking about before, it seems a little silly when I just have them play it after and make the best of 3, but it's not our tournament. So. I have it. Anyways, falling back on TFT's side, Silver. And actually, even against Centaur, you can argue.
I think it's mostly the Centaur. I don't think you need it exactly, but the stats are always nice on Dark. There's a pretty much building any stats you can on the hero makes it a lot more. Not really about
just didn't want to slide, but he actually Dark Rips out. You look at Morphling, he did use the Morph to take over on Delore, but it still wasn't enough to get the kill there.
Freaking hero. There needs to be.
There's a couple of annoying heroes in this game. They have an annoying hero on the Radiant. They got Dark Will, so I think it's fair.
Yeah, but it's like I think Dark Will is pretty balanced because
dangerous.
Well, if she was broken, her win rate would be much higher, right? She has a lot of weaknesses, and people will learn how to play against her the more that they see it. Like obviously, you don't clump. You need to treat it as if it's kind of similar to Black Hole in terms of it's going to disable you for quite a long time. You don't want to be together. Like Curse Crown Bramble Maze, they don't have a lot of utility a lot of times if people group up. And the Bedlam, like it is broken where it can, but like
what you're saying, Fluff, about this is that you're using logic, and your
okay.
majority of Dota that they just don't understand, and they just call it OP, right? So that's what I'm sticking with. So I don't care what you say.
All right. They're fine just pushing out lanes aggressively here. They have